Like to start, before we start, I just want to have a friendly reminder, today's meeting will be live streamed on the YouTube channel. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. The adoption of the agenda. Councillor Warren, second Councillor Joyce, all in favor? Thank you. And no deputations. Any declaration of community interest? Seeing none. And the adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. Councillor Joyce, seconded by Councillor Warren, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, we'll start in with new business, and we'll start at 4.1, Corporate Services Departmental Presentation. Sarah Bukaboom, Director of Corporate Services.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Budget Committee, and all staff. Here we are again. It feels like I was just here a few days ago. First, of course, introducing all the managers. Everybody's quite familiar with Carolyn Danes, the City Treasurer, Chief People Officer Leanna Patterson, Chief Information Officer Peter Evans, his second budget now, so he's old hat with us. Manager Revenue and Taxation Linda Liotti is following along online. Manager of Strategy and Innovation, we're in the midst of putting a temp in that position, and Manager of Communications, Sherry Davidson. So we're all here today for moral support and detailed questions if you have any. So this morning I want to review the Corporate Services org chart, overview of the department, where the 26 pressures are, the division overviews, budget variances, and what has been accomplished to date in 2025 and where we'll focus in 2026. So again, this is the layout of the different divisions within corporate services. There is the administration area and 6 divisions within corporate services. So corporate services is responsible to lead, monitor, and manage all corporate functions. So we serve the entire city and the public. We are financial and human resource management, communications, strategy, innovation, and IT, managing all of the tax bills, which is a lot of work with the public in that area, and the utility billing as well, and all the new innovation and strategy monitoring. As a snapshot in time, the current budget proposed for 2026, I caveat, as I did the other day, very preliminary draft budgets, are $15.1 million for corporate services overall, which at this point in time is up 2.98 from 2025. I can assure you this is a draft budget, and we are diligently reviewing, analyzing, adjusting, as are all departments that we request of them. We'll be doing the same in the corporate services budget. The main drivers of the variance are in the materials, training, and supplies, and contracted services, and I'll get into that division by division with you. And of course, you heard on September 16th, the pressures on the wage, or the story on the wage overall impact to the city, and corporate services is no different than any other department in that area. The administration budget is rather small. This is the general administration support for the whole department, which are plus 100 employees in this department. This includes, but not limited to, working with council, prepping for meetings, support to the mayor's office, the SMT representative. We coordinate the overall citywide budget in this area and oversee the strategic planning for the department. Budget in this area is up 0.92, so a $628,000 budget on a $537,000. And in this area, as you heard the other day, there is one new request for an administrative assistant. The entire department has one administrative assistant currently. So with the volume of purchase orders, invoicing, et cetera, that's in the proposed budget for 2026. People Services Division. While this supports corporate services, I do want to comment that it provides support to the entire city, and so several of the costs in people services are for the entire city. I'll highlight a few of those scenarios shortly. So currently, they're facing a budget increase of $452,000, and again, this is our preliminary draft budget before you today. People Services is responsible for programming that encompasses the overall employee experience from hire to retirement. They're responsible for recruiting through onboarding, career development, health and safety, learning and development, and the provision of competitive salaries and benefits. I do want to highlight from the discussion on September 16th in the overall wage budget for the city, there are 2 new positions in this division for 2026. One is an executive trainer in order to upskill, and again, this would be for the entire city, so the 1,600 full-time employees that we refer to, or sorry, 1,600 FTE. That will help reduce the contract expenses and be able to empower staff to have the tools and skills to perform their jobs. And just again, because of the growth in the overall city org chart, there is proposed for 1 People Services Associate in this year's budget. Also rolled up in wages in this particular department is the Worker Safety Insurance Board for the entire city. So just want to be clear that this budget isn't just People Services wages, it includes support for the whole corporation. Under WSIB, we pay both self-insurance as well as claims out of this division. Corporate-wide training is also in materials, training, and services, and again, not just for the division or corporate services, there's $250,000 for the entire city training support in this budget. In terms of interfunctional support and the increase in wages there, or sorry, the increase in recovery, that's a revenue where People Services recovers costs from those divisions that have a grant or any other source of funding for them. So we share the costs out to capitalize on recovery dollars. Communications, advertising, and marketing has been a very busy department division this year. Communications provides strategic communications, again, to the entire city, marketing and media relations, increased public awareness, and engagement with city programs. Following the communication strategy that Council endorsed in 2024, there is a recommended new communications and engagement officer to help Council clear messaging with the public, ensure we're reaching our public, and seeking engagement and feedback from them. Other than that position, all else is fairly consistent with the 2025 budget. Information technology. The other day we touched a little bit that if we don't invest in IT, our org chart and our people skills will be not in balance. So by investing in IT, giving people the tools to do their job in an automated new modern forum, that will help you keep a handle on the org chart and the current manual processes in some areas. So in IT, there are 3 new positions to support the city's transformation and modernization project. And again, that supports all departments and all their initiatives going on as well. We can get into some of those if you desire in the end of the presentation. This division supports, again, electronic systems, the infrastructure, the new software, the business relations to make sure that departments have the tools to deliver their services in an automated, meaningful manner, all support and client support services as well. In this area, there is an increase of 1.7 currently. I do want to caveat that approximately 500,000 of that is because we centralized some costs into IT this year, and that savings is seen across all departments. So we centralized cell phones and city printers. Those used to be divvied up to well over 1,000 business units. We didn't feel that that was value-added work to go to that level of administration, so we've pulled the cost back in centrally, and there's a savings that the departments don't have to budget that in their budgets for 26. And of course, printer leases are increasing to the tune of $100,000 citywide in this budget. Contracted services is a area, as you'll note, $517,000 is the variance there. There's quite a few things going on in contracted services. We have some new cybersecurity, and of course, as you're well aware, and we've been extolling virtues of, we need network security. It is the #1 risk in cybersecurity. So we're investing in that to ensure the city is protected. We have new support in this contract area for the city's new 4 websites and the improvements you'll see to the city's website coming forward soon. And then we have some very minor GIS information, all the good things you've seen coming, i.e. the ice storm and the tracking of that on the city's website was very well received by the citizens and a very effective tool for the city. The Treasury Department is one that is pretty stable year in, year out. What we do have this year is a modest increase of $267,000, and that includes 1 new purchasing specialist. As you can imagine, with the increase in the capital budget and the growing city, purchasing is a very busy area, so we're trying to provide timely resources to the departments to purchase what they need to purchase and deliver on their goals. Strategy and innovation. You've just recently received the August 26th council update from the CAO with wide acclamation from the community on how that was well received. This area is implementing and reporting on that strategic plan, including future scorecards, aligning work plans across the corporation, and an independent internal consultant to assist business areas when they want to do a business review. We do have 1 new position proposed in the 26 budget to provide support as a strategy specialist to continue on the good work on the monitoring of those scorecards. Revenue and taxation. There are no immediate new increases in this area for 2026. We slowly started building the org chart for rev and tax in 25. So those are in various stages of hire at the moment, but you will see the full annualization of those hitting the budget this year. We are struggling on our plea to the public to become more automated and work with us online. Because we're still having to mail tax bills out and mail out reminders, there's an increase here in materials, and that is just directly the increase in postage. While we continue our campaign to get people to deal with the city online in this area. We do have proposed a new tax system to be upgraded, and we are starting work on that. You will see an early start approval coming forward September 21st, 23rd, seeking the support to get going on the new modernized tax system, which will allow the customer to do more interaction with the city through the portal. So hopefully in time, we don't spend $100,000+ on stamps just to provide support and mail the bills out. Also under the same manager is the utility billing. There's no new positions in the budget this year for that. Again, they experienced some growth in 25 in their positions. You do see an increased interfunctional adjustment, a revenue of $143,000. That's because this budget is always balanced and it is recovered through the water rates, through the water billing department. There is an increase of approximately $947,000, and that is charged back to the water rate. So this is always a zero impact on your tax dollars. I'll get into the priorities for 2026 in a moment, but there's some very exciting things going on in utility billing, and our modernization is starting to transpire. So again, I won't read these slide by slide, but our 2025 accomplishments, we have been meeting our goals. We are making great strides in our modernization projects, We do have a focus to earn the city the Government Finance Officer's Budget Criteria Award and move us into that next recipient. We will apply for this towards the end of 25 or into 2026. Council has received the long-term financial plan update August 26th, and we will continue to keep that up to date in real time annually. And we've been working on the Black Belt continuous improvement training across the corporation. We're seeing some great results of projects coming out of that. As for 2026, we're continuing to review the department structure, ready us for growth, as well as continue on the modernization and where skills need to lie amongst the divisions. We have a 26th priority to complete our service profiles and continue gathering and reporting out on performance indicators. Strategy and innovation lives in corporate services, so I keep saying we should be the gold standard at key performance indicators and scorecard reporting. We're moving into that environment. Very excited to report that our water meter replacement program will be coming to an end in 2026, and great amount of effort has been put into that, and we're seeing the achievements of the water meter replacement. We're also just now testing the remote reader. So there is an arm on the Lindsay Water Tower on Highway 36. It is reading the meters that are newly replaced in the town of Lindsay in a certain area and giving us the data on that in Revenue and Tax UB. And we're reviewing that data, refining it, and starting to make some determinations on the next steps of that pilot. As council is aware and heard me say before, the idea is that that would be on an online portal. The customer would be able to log in and see their own high water bills. We're at the first stages of this where at least we will know where someone has had a high water bill occurrence, and we'll be able to do some follow-up in real time. So we're very, very excited that we're starting to test pilot that. In 25, we've also enhanced our communications and public engagement. One such example was the survey that went out to the public in regards to our 26 budget, and we've heard loud and clear from the constituents on some areas they'd like us to include for the budget chair, the budget committee, and the mayor in their next considerations. We've also detailed, as you heard in the wage presentation the other day, workforce methodology and starting to plan and keep the city within that 1% new positions allocation. Are we still within the 40% of our overall budget allocated to wages? And we're continuing to build that methodology, and we'll keep you updated annually on that. Focus for 2026 is to continue with the transformation and modernization. Much more to be done yet. We've made great strides. Very pleased and proud of where the team has come so far this year. We are looking to centralize all data in the GIS layering and have one source of truth for the city to remove some of the manual mapping, some of the manual Excel spreadsheets out there, and have the corporation use this one source of truth through IT. We are preparing for the modernization of the revenue and taxation system, which will eventually allow the customer into the portal, make their payments online, see where their bills are. They no longer need to line up at customer services to ask what the balance on their taxes is. They'll be able to self-serve that information. We're preparing for the development services workflow automation. The number of times we get asked the question, where are we in our growth compared to where we thought we would be? We're commencing some work to do that automation and be able to give you that information in real time. People Services has been very busy reviewing and updating all job descriptions for QB 855, the effects of which have been allocated and set aside in this 26 budget parameters and in all of the wage categories. Very proud that we have completed the installation of some Lindsay fiber optic, which will connect the new paramedic building and any other buildings that can connect along the way to that. So we now have good full continuity on the city's secure website and access to all data. We've also been updating the corporate Wi-Fi infrastructure Budget Committee, you may notice when you come into City Hall now, you no longer need to log into the portal or plug into a portal. You have Wi-Fi access anywhere you go in this building. Sounds like a small win, but for us that was pretty big because that saves someone like me who moves offices or locations sometimes 3-4 times a day. That's about 15 minutes per time of re-logging in to get on the Wi-Fi. So it's a huge time savings, and hopefully council is enjoying the benefits of that as well. So for 26, we'll complete the QP 855 review. We'll support the corporate initiatives related to culture, strategy, and communication, again, which is for the entire city. We do want to continue engaging with our public, hearing from our public, and focusing on that communication strategy and build on that good work that's been undertaken in that area. So I'm not a fan of the term budget pressures. I'd rather say this is the budget story at the end. We are investing in attraction and retention in this department like all others across the city. We are investing in citywide Workers' Safety Insurance Board, monitoring both the self-insurance and the claims across the entire city. We are focusing some efforts on increased public engagement, and there is some pressures in our IT contracted area, but that comes with the modern world we live in, sadly. We, to date, we're very proud to say we have not been hacked in. We've had no major cybersecurity issues, and that's because of the good work and the investment council is making in IT. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that was a lot. I will stop talking and take any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Any questions? Councillor Warren.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for this. So under strategy, I have a few questions. Strategy and Innovation Division, we hired, I think, a few extra people last year, or that was a new area. And I thought at that point that we were going to actually have a report all the time, like you could go onto the website and see where we're at. Is that up and going?
Through you, Mr. Chair, those weren't new positions. That was a realignment of strategy and innovation from the CAO's office over to corporate services. We were quite communicative when we put the city's strategic plan in place in 2024, that the first year was going to be building data, the structure, and building towards the report out in the scorecard. So you got your first scorecard and report in March of 2025, which was a very lengthy attachment to the report at that time, and you received a presentation. The CAO just delivered the midterm update to Council August 26th. We are then taking all of the work and information from that report and those scorecards and working to put them on the city's website by the end of the year. The city's website is launching October 1st to open to the public. So at some point before the end of the year, we'll have the whole strategy section updated on the website. And yes, the idea is that going forward, these report cards will be self-fed as departments are doing the work. We update the work plan and they get rolled over to the scorecard. So it's a bit of a work in progress yet. I would suggest that in another year, you'll see great improvements in this area.
So the public will be able to see all the data on as it happens going forward.
Through you, Mr. Chair, in real time, once a month, perhaps not real time. It will take us some time to gather the information, review them, analyze it, and make sure the story is what we want to tell. But yes, the public will be able to see those indicators that are relevant to the public on the city's website.
And I didn't see anywhere in here AI. I mean, that's IT for sure, but that's a big change that I'm sure we're looking at throughout the corporation. So maybe you could speak to that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. I was remiss. I'm embarrassed. I'm going to ask the Manager of Communications to update you on the new website and the AI, and then I'm going to pass it over to the Chief Information Officer, who has been doing a lot of work in the area of AI. I include that in our modernization and transformation, so forgive me, I roll it all up in there. We are doing a lot of work on AI and some of the tools, but we're very excited to roll out the city's new website, and Manager Davidson will tell you a little bit about AI on that platform.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. It is exciting, it's coming, and it's part of a wider citywide focus on how can we leverage AI in all of our departments. But the first to roll out will be public on our websites. In response to user request, prior to developing the new websites, we asked the public, what would you like? What do you need more of? How can we make these websites work better for you? And the answer on the AI request was loud and clear in that we want to use this tool in a way that will help us find what we need on the website. That's usually the number one sticking point is, I know the information is there, but I can't find it. So very pleased that we will have that new feature built in. It will be optional if residents would prefer to use a Google search. That is there, and it's right in the same click, right in the same screen, so there's a very clear choice. However, we're really pleased with the results that are coming back on the AI and how it's making the volumes of data that are living on our website accessible, relevant, and easy to find. So more to come on that.
And that's great for communication, so that's kind of big start for AI. When I was at AMO, it was interesting that I went to a seminar and they were talking about using AI in public works to map roads and to where the potholes are. So by having 3 or 4 cameras on on trucks throughout the municipality, you could get all that data, and that would speed up processes. So I'm just wondering, corporately, are we looking at not just communications, but other areas in the city using AI?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor. Yes, we've also been receiving those same updates. I'm going to let Pete Evans, the Chief Information Officer, update you on some training we've been in, and we're looking for some modernization. We've heard those same stories that some areas are using cameras on the plows to even predict potholes, on the trucks to predict potholes, and then we can deploy from there as opposed to manually going out and patrolling. But I'll let Pete talk about a bit of the strategy we have for AI in IT.
So through you, Mr. Chair, yes, we have been working quite heavily on AI as part of our IT strategic plan, which is underway as well. You bring up Public Works, absolutely. We have been working with the Fleet Division and looking at the options. Each software we get now has a mandate that the AI component must be evaluated as well as to whether it should be deployed or whether it's a service we need at this time. The other part of it is we are working pretty hard. We had a very large AI training seminar for a lot of our corporate leaders and change champions corporately to understand how to use AI safely and properly as a corporation. And we are going to be updating our IT management directive to be able to give advice on how it should be used. We've also put in for training in the new year, in the 226 budget, to be able to deploy AI features such as Copilot and things like that, and training for the corporation. So each division, as it comes up and as a service, it's now part of the package to be considered, and will be coming fast and furious in the new year. We do caution, though, that AI is a kind of a brand new focus for our corporation. We want to make sure we're doing it right, and we want to make sure we're accurate when we do deploy it, so that we're keeping our security and our information accurate as well.
Are you also going to be training council on the use of AI?
Through you, Mr. Chair, absolutely. I think it will be a directive that is provided corporate-wide to all people impacted who are be using it.
Thank you. Any more questions?
sorry, I've got a few. Just to change from paper to online, do we have any maybe initiatives to help people maybe, I don't know, lower their bill a little bit or whatever to get them to sign on to the new approach? Are there any initiatives to help that along?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we've been giving that great thought. We put it on pause just because we're currently using iCity in our revenue tax system, which has been around since amalgamation. There are not many opportunities for community portal on that, but as our customer citizen portal, we're upgrading with your blessing on September 23rd. We're moving into the next iteration of iCity, which is called Central Square. It does have the customer service capability in there. So as we launch that new portal and move through that IT program, which we've currently phased over 3 years, I believe, to full fruition and functioning of the package, at that time we'll consider whether there's a penalty for those that still choose paper or whether there's a slight reduction or discount for those that we can get online. But I can tell you the city spends upwards of $200,000 on stamps every year. So whatever amount that we incentivize, it would be an offset to that $200,000 in our spending.
I'm wondering what the public has said so far on the Jump-In site for the budget. You kind of hinted at we have some information, and I'm just wondering if we can have an update.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we're presenting it to the mayor tomorrow morning. The survey just closed and we've just gotten the analysis. So our first step will be to brief the mayor up and the chair tomorrow morning. And then at some point we will share that fuller message with Budget Committee once we apprise the two. So stay tuned. Some exciting things to come.
Councillor Joyce.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Property tax billing, you asked that question, we're good there. I'm curious about the WSIB. We're investing in self-insurance. What does that mean and why is that a good plan?
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. It is exactly that. It's an insurance. If I may, I'm going to ask the expert, Leanna Patterson, the Chief People Officer. There are two types of WSIB, and I'm going to let her explain why the city is on self-insured and the savings it brings us.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor. As Sarah has mentioned, there are two types. If you own a business in Ontario, you subscribe to WSIB, you have to have that. But as a public entity in Ontario, we can choose a method where rather than paying an insurance amount in the millions to the WSIB, what we can do is we can pay for every claim as it occurs to the WSIB. The savings is a lot. I don't remember the numbers, but in the millions, the savings. But you take on a little bit of risk with that, so you buy another insurance as well. And so the two together, of course, none of those cost increases are within our control. When a person is injured, we're paying their wage replacement, but we're also paying all of the medical costs. It does not go through the OHIP system. The employer pays. If the person has a surgery, the employer pays for that. Even if you subscribe to the first level of WSIB, like a public business, your accidents will accumulate and your costs will increase. So we have chosen the less expensive method, but of course the cost of medical care is increasing. We can't control that. And then the cost of insurance is, of course, increasing quite a bit. I still recommend that we stay with these two streams rather than the regular insurance. The difference is in the millions. We can get that figure if you want it. But again, those costs, if we look at it year over year, they just incrementally increase because that's...
Thank you. I don't need the exact figure. Saving in the millions is good enough for me. And I'm happy to see we have the real Director Bukaboom here, not the AI version. So I'm all in favor of that too. Next question I have is in the Information Technology Division. Quite an increase in materials, training, and services. You explained one part is $100,000 in printer licenses, and you've consolidated from different departments. So my question there is, in that, how much are we investing in cybersecurity? If you can possibly give me a round figure on that.
Through you, Mr. Chair. We had, in the cybersecurity piece of it, we have had a significant increase. We basically have created a 24/7 service that we've gone in with a vendor, which basically services about $250,000 a year. That was an additional cost. And then we also had a thing called Mindcast, which is a system that is costing us about $70,000 a year on top of that. And that's basically allowing us to train our email system so that we're not getting any more spam email coming in, and you as a user can control that email and block it. So those are the two major costs there for cybersecurity that we've basically had to deal with. And also some of it is based around other software systems and doing an evaluation to make sure that they're following our security standards as well. So.
Okay, thank you. And that's figures you gave me is budgeted in 2026, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I'm just going to suggest that my suggestion is no matter how much council pushes back on things, that we do not cut a penny from cybersecurity. It's what keeps me up at night, and we do not want to be hacked, and I don't want to end up on the front page of the Globe and Mail that, oh, Kawartha Lakes has got a ransomware issue. So thank you for that. My one last question, and this is a broad question. I don't know if to direct it to Director Bukaboom or CAO Taylor, but council's not in the job of micromanaging new staff hires and when, how, or whom, of course. But looking at these budgets under salaries, wages, and benefits. Now, you spoke to each department about verbalizing the new hires, which is great, but we have a tremendous amount of information download in these budget meetings. Can we get salary, wages, and benefits current? So we see a budget percentage variance from one year to the next should be 2.5% or 3% on salary increases. And then a second line under that would be the new hires. So we get a bit better picture of what's going on. You look at Strategy and Innovation Division, it's a 41% increase in salary, wages, and benefits, but buried in there is hiring one person. So just help us understand where things are going. And if another thing I know that sometimes salaries, wages, and benefits without any new hires might be a 10% increase, but the story behind that is, well, we're right sizing. Well, that's great. I understand that, but we understand. You know, we ask the question, we get the answer. So this is. At first glance, these budget variances on salary, wages, and benefits are the new hires are buried in there, and it's throwing people off. Is that a fair thing to do going forward, or how do we manage that? This is all presentations going forward, so I don't know.
I'm going to defer, Mr. Chair, to the CAO for a higher level story, but I can tell you that overall in this 2026 budget, the impact of new positions, tax supported on the bottom line, is between $3.5 million and $4 million on a $300 million budget. So the new staff asks aren't the major driver in this, and I'll just back up a small moment. The new hires from last year are fully annualized in 2026. So you'll recall we deferred some of those positions and hired them in perhaps Q2 last year. They were budgeted for Q2. They're now fully encumbered in the 2026 budget. The contract ratifications that Council has been approving all year have an impact is in here as well. Add the market adjustment on top of that, which is not yet ratified, so unfortunately it's rather confidential, but I can tell you that the new staff overall across all departments for the new positions is approximately net bottom line of $3.5 million. And I'll defer to the CAO for any further commentary he could add.
Thanks. Through the chair, I certainly would echo. I mean, had a similar response. I mean, it's a balancing act, right? We're trying to convey to the public and through budget committees that macro level of themes and sort of where we're heading. And we even talked about it really doesn't even tell the story in year, right? You're seeing a snapshot of 1 year over multiple year strategies for, in this case, staffing. I think what we tried to start the conversation or the story on Tuesday was, well, here's what it looks like globally, and here's what it looks like over multiple years, and here's some of the pressures. I'm certainly hearing, when you look at it through a micro lens, then the numbers are very much skewed. One position can be a 50% increase in a budget area. In another budget area, it can be 0.01%. So there's no story being told at all at either of those levels. So I think what we can commit to do, we'll take back and maybe revisit what we started on Tuesday and see if we can slice through some of those other themes. So for example, the director said globally or corporately, we're targeting a 1% to total budget increase for new staff. And we're essentially on that target for the 2026 budget. But there are a lot of stories to tell underlying. So if you're okay, and Chair, maybe we can take that back. And at the tail end of the first round of department presentations, we can then sort of theme and roll up some of those staffing themes, if that helps you.
Maybe in the deliberations section, that would be good plan there to timing. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Councilor Warren.
For you, Mr. Chair, what is the amount, I'm sure it's changed over the years, of a 1% increase? So how many dollars does that in this budget? Used to be $1 million was 1%, but I'm sure it's changed a lot since then.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we will be refining that figure as we settle the budget and calculate what the tax revenue is for the amount that we'll be billing. But at this point, we consider 1% roughly to be about 1.6 million as an impact on the operating budget. When the CAO Taylor is referring to the 1% of our wages, we're using 1% of the gross entire operating budget, not just the revenue from tax though. So our total global operating budget is 300 million. Therefore, each year we would invest 1% of the overall gross budget into wages, or 3 million.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your presentation today. I'd like to just take 5 minutes. First of all, I guess I need a motion to receive Sarah's Councilor Warren, seconded by Councilor Joyce. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we'll take 5 minutes and get ready for the next Community Service Department to get their presentation up here. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. 4.2, we'll call on Director Jen Johnson for her presentation on the Community Service Departmental presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the Budget Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to present on behalf of the Community Services Department. Today's presentation is focused on our 2026 operating budget request. Our goal is to provide you with a clear picture of services we deliver, the projected financial variances, the pressures we are anticipating in the year ahead. We will begin with a brief, if I can move the slide here. I'm not sure, Constance, if I have, got it. I might just get you to do it, Constance, if that works. Perfect. So today's presentation will focus on our 2026 operating budget request. Our goal is to provide you with a clear picture of the services we deliver, the projected financial variances, and the pressures we are anticipating in the year ahead. We will begin with a brief overview of the department, followed by each of the division managers providing a summary of their service areas. They will speak to their respective service provision, identify budget variances, and outline the pressures that are driving our 2026 request. If it pleases the chair, each manager will also be available to answer questions specific to their division during their speaking portion, so that the discussion can happen naturally as we move through the presentation. By the end, you'll have a clearer sense not only of the budget pressures facing community services, but also how our work continues to advance Council's strategic priorities, from maintaining healthy communities and enhancing quality of life, to supporting the local economy and ensuring good governance through efficient, responsible management of city assets. So with that, I'd like to begin with the overview of the department's organizational structure and how we are set up to deliver these responsibilities. The Community Services Department is led by myself as director and is organized into 4 main reporting areas. These include the Customer Experience Division, led by Manager Brandon Clarkson, the Parks and Recreation Division, led by Manager Ryan Smith, and the Building and Property Division, led by Manager James Smith. And finally, Leanne Donnelly steers the ship in the administration area. Leanne is cycling her way through Belgium currently, so is unable to attend today. So this structure allows us to manage a broad range of services, while ensuring each division has dedicated leadership and accountability. So the next slide. Community Services is one of the most wide-ranging departments in the city. As mentioned, we oversee 4 main areas: administration, customer experience, building and property, and parks and recreation. Together, these areas reflect both the behind-the-scenes functions that keep the city running smoothly and the frontline services that residents experience every day. Through our administration functions like the internal courier and corporate coordination, we ensure that operations are effective, efficient, and accountable. This directly supports the priority of good government, where we are committed to delivering services in innovative and efficient ways. On the customer service side, we lead the city's corporate customer experience program and oversee all of our municipal service centers. These touch points are often the first interaction residents have with their local government, and we work to ensure these experiences are positive, timely, and consistent. This aligns again with good government, particularly with the goal of providing excellent customer experiences. Our building and property team plays a critical role in the city's asset management program. By ensuring our facilities are well maintained and responsibly managed, we not only meet the goals of good government, but also advance an exceptional quality of life. Safe, welcoming, and reliable community hubs like service centers and other municipal buildings are central to maintaining places where people gather, connect, and thrive. The Parks and Recreation Division is where our work most visibly connects to residents' day-to-day lives. We offer a full range of recreation and leisure programming, from aquatics to fitness to community events, all of which contribute directly to an exceptional quality of life by supporting health, well-being, and social connections. At the same time, our care of parks, forest tracts, cemeteries, and trails supports a healthy community by protecting and preserving the green spaces, waterways, and trails that are vital to both the environment and to the residents' quality of life. There's also an economic dimension to this work. Well-maintained parks, Vibrant recreation programs and beautiful trails all enhance the attractiveness of Kawartha Lakes as a place to live, work, and invest, contributing to a vibrant and growing economy. Finally, our department supports a variety of boards and committees such as Wilson Estate, the Chess Committees, the Parks Advisory Committee, and PowerLinks. This work ensures strong governance and community involvement, which again enforces the good government priority. So in short, community services plays a vital role in advancing all 4 council's strategic priorities. We build a healthy community, we enhance the quality of life, we support a vibrant and growing economy, and we deliver the promise on good government. Next slide, Constance. As we move into the budget requests for community services, what you'll see here are the overall roll-up numbers for the department. Each division manager will speak to the details within their respective areas shortly, but I do want to take to provide some context before we move into that discussion. One of the most significant variances you'll notice in the department budget is in the salaries, wages, and benefits area. The committee will recall that earlier this week, you received information on the citywide workforce and wage program. Within community services, this variance reflects the tail end of a deliberate capacity building process that has been underway, particularly within the Parks and Recreation Division. Over the past 3 to 5 years, Parks and Recreation has been implementing an organizational review and strengthening its capacity to support growth. Prior to this exercise, the division was very lean in terms of staffing resources. At the outset, there are only 7 leadership positions in place to support roughly 250 full-time, part-time, and seasonal team members. This imbalance led to overburdened supervisors, high levels of burnout, and challenges in maintaining effective oversight. Through the phased implementation plan, new positions have been gradually introduced to address those gaps. The requests in 2026 represent the final stages of that plan, specifically completing the build-out of the leadership team. Once these positions are in place, the ratio between leadership and frontline staff will be more sustainable, ensuring stronger support, improved oversight, and greater long-term stability for the division. In addition, the Customer Experience Division is also requesting a new position. This role will directly support the city's corporate priority of enhancing customer service, a focus that has been at the forefront for the past few years. This investment ensures we continue improving the way residents interact with their municipality. So, in summary, while the overall budget details will be explained by each manager, the key driver of the variance in salaries and wages is not new or unexpected. It reflects the final stages of a planned multi-year strategy to build capacity, strengthen leadership, and improve service delivery across the department. The next slide, Constance. This slide highlights departmental variances over $100,000. For community services, the only variance at that level is in contracted services, which shows an increase of about 12% or roughly $371,000. The division managers will speak to the specifics within their area, but at a high level, I can confirm that the primary drivers are increased snow plowing and janitorial costs and requests to expand certain maintenance programs. In particular, trail maintenance and tree canopy initiatives are included in this area, both of which are important to meeting community expectations and ensuring our assets are properly cared for. So while managers will provide the details, the overall variance in contracted services across the department reflects the rising costs of essential work, along with targeted investment in maintaining and improving the spaces residents rely on. Next slide. So we will begin the divisional overviews with administration. This is a relatively small budget area within community services, but I do want to highlight a couple of items that are reflected in this year's request. Overall, administration is projecting a savings of about 4% or $20,000. Within that, there is a decrease of approximately $13,000 that relates to funding for a community group. I want to be clear that this is not a reduction in overall support to the community group. The expense has simply been shifted to another department's budget. So the community group will still continue to receive the municipal funding. The remaining variance is tied to an increase in revenue the city receives for providing administrative services in support of the CHEST funding programs. That additional revenue is reflected here and helps offset the overall costs. I'll ask Brandon to come up to provide the Customer Experience Division overview.
Thank you, Director Johnson. Good morning. Through you, the chair. Thank you for having me this morning. As mentioned, I'm Brandon Clarkson, Manager of Customer Service, soon to be Manager of Customer Experience. I did want to just touch base briefly this morning on the division name change. So that was brought forward through the Deputy Mayor's Customer Service Initiative report that landed earlier this summer. Just reflects the evolving scope of responsibility for the Customer Service, now Customer Experience Division. So it's an exciting change, and it will be done through incremental changes as we progress. So we'll see some changes on the new city website that's getting ready to launch, and then we'll move forward with a more fulsome name change as we progress through 2026. So as Director Johnson alluded to, the Customer Experience Division is responsible for the corporate customer experience portfolio and frontline service delivery. We manage the Municipal Call Center and our 4 municipal service centers, which are located in Bobcaygeon, Cobeconk, Lindsay, and Omemee. We also provide strategic leadership on citywide customer experience initiatives and tools. A little bit of a staffing overview for you. The division currently includes 13 staff, myself included, 2 customer experience specialists, and 10 customer experience representatives. That team staffs the 4 municipal service centers daily and also intakes all calls through the city. I like to say that we serve as the front door to the city for most residents who are coming in and accessing their local government. We also have one of our CXRs, our customer experience representatives, who operates in a part-time capacity. They assist the division approximately 24 hours a week to support peak demand periods, vacation relief, and to ensure we're maintaining service levels. Before we get into actual budget numbers, I wanted to talk a little bit about some statistics for our division. I'm a data-driven individual, and I think it helps paint the picture for some of these numbers you're seeing today on the slides. So the Municipal Call Center to date has handled over 41,000 calls. That's a 15% increase for the same period since 2024. So we're seeing large growth in the number of calls coming into our corporate call center. In addition to that, the the municipal service centers have processed just shy of 12,000 transactions this year. That's totaling $14.6 million that has been received on behalf of other divisions. So customer service does not get to keep any of this money. We distribute that out to other revenue lines for operating budgets across the corporation. That's a 9% increase in volume of transactions and a 10% increase in total dollar value. We've also supported the corporation in the creation of 7,620 service requests across the city. That's representing a 23% increase year over year from 2024, where we were at 6,200 approximately at this time. So we are definitely seeing growth and demand within this division, but it can be contextualized through some of the events that have unfolded this year. So as we're all aware, the ice storm response and cleanup activities have been an ongoing pressure point for the Customer Experience Division. We are seeing a decrease now, finally, in inquiries related to that. We also saw increased inquiries related to the summer wildfire activity, and we saw elevated call volumes earlier in the year when we saw a large number of inclement weather days. Now, moving into our operating budget, we see first revenue lines. Think of these like holding accounts. These are typically recovery accounts that money comes into these accounts and then is moved to the appropriate division, as I've mentioned. It also includes our cash over underline. And as you can see, the team is pretty on top of their financial transactions. We're not forecasting anything for that, and everything should be moved over accordingly. Moving into actual expenses, so we see salary, wages, and benefits proposed for 2026 at approximately $1.2 million for the division. That's a budget variance of $321,000 year over year, or a budget variance percent of 36%. We are requesting one new position this year, which has been touched on briefly, which is our Supervisor of Customer Experience. Council and committee has been well informed on the steps that the division is taking to advance the city's corporate customer experience program. This position would serve to provide leadership capacity within the division to allow us to focus not only on frontline operations of municipal call center and municipal service centers, our staff team, staff recognition, trying to change cultural transformation, those types of initiatives, but also it allows us to focus on the overarching corporate customer experience, working with council, working with customers, developing division service targets, potentially the implementation of a new CRM if we are approved to do so, which I hope we are. So that would just provide us some additional leadership capacity to focus on not only our daily operations, but really pushing the needle forward on the objectives that we've set out to do so as presented to council in March of this year. Moving through the other increases in that area of salaries, wages, and benefits would be largely attributed to contract and market adjustment. The rest of the customer experience budget is quite lean, I would say, in terms of requests for 2026. We see a small request coming in the materials, trainings, and services line directly related to additional training for our frontline staff at approximately $1,000. That is being offset by a decrease in photocopier expenses at the tune of $775. So we're a net increase of $225 or 1% approximately as it's kind of rolled up for our area. Contracted services, again, we see approximately a $500 increase in this area. That's in request for staff recognition programs and ways to make our staff feel valued and excited to show up and come to work, even when they are dealing with potentially upwards of 700 calls a day about an ice storm. As we move through the next lines, we're not seeing any major increases in debt, lease, and financial, but just to let you know, that's related to the costing associated with electronic payments at service centers. And then our last line is related to interfunctional adjustments, which is the amount of money that we receive as a revenue from the Building and Septic Division for their occupancy at the Cobeconk Service Center. All of that together brings the total budget for customer experience this year to $1.221 million, budget variance of $321,000 or 36%. I'm happy to answer any questions that folks may have.
Thank you for that report. Any questions? Councillor Joyce.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I'm well aware that we need a new CRM, but I don't, where is that in here?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor's question. Thank you for the question. That won't be included in this budget, so you'll see that come through IT special project budget will be delivered through the capital budget process. So when that comes forward, you'll be able to see the line that's included and the approximate dollar value that's been requested for a new customer relationship management software in 2026. Is worth noting that similar to the tax system, we are looking at a phased implementation of that software. So we wouldn't hit the ground running with a full deployment. It would be phased in as we're able to do so.
Thank you. Not a question, just a comment. Really happy to hear about employee recognition. You know, you are our front lines, and when people come to the front line, that's their first experience is what they retain and what they remember. So I know sometimes it's difficult, but it's important that they treat the experience when they're done is a positive one.
I couldn't agree.
So that's got to be reinforced and bolstered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Chair, and this may be a question for Jen under administration overview. I just wanted to know what community group you were talking about.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it is Maryborough Lodge.
So that's being transferred somewhere else under some other area of the city?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think Director Bukabu might have an answer for that, but yes, it is to do you want to go ahead and provide the information?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, all external agencies are now included in corporate items, so we can keep an eye on or oversight on all external agencies. So they've been moved to the corporate items section, which is where anything that touches all areas of the city lie. Donations to external groups and external agencies are all up in there.
Councillor Joyce.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Are we waiting for more questions for Director Johnson, or is that the time now?
She will be at the end, wrapping
At the
up,
end,
yes.
okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to pass it off to Manager Smith, Manager of Building and Property Division. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time to be here today. My name is James Smith, and I'm the Manager of Building and Property. My team and I are responsible for managing the operational needs and capital projects for the municipality's administrative buildings, libraries, and fire halls. We support service and maintenance requests for internal departments and respond to over 900 work orders every year. My division oversees the municipality's energy management initiatives and building condition assessments. As you can see for our overview here, I'll start with our revenue. We have a few sites where we have lease agreements with tenants, and we also have 2 sites where we rent out hall space. So this year we're looking at an increase of about $2,000 in rental fees, but that could fluctuate. It depends on usage, and it could go up, it could go down depending on people's activities this year. Our biggest variance we have, increase is our salaries, wages, and benefits. That's been spoken to previously, and as been alluded, the majority of our wage increases are from market and contract adjustments. Next year, we are not scheduling to have any new positions for our department, and we have one this year, which is a facility project coordinator, and that will be hired probably within the next month or 2. So that budget variance for this year is about $197,000. Materials, training, and services for building and property, we are almost the same as last year, a slight increase of $10,000, which equates to about 2%. Contracted services is another one that, due to increases in snow removal and janitorial cleaning, we're seeing a budget variance increase of $139,000, which equates to about 12% increase from last year. Rents and insurance for next year, we, Building and Property holds the lease agreements for 322 Kent and 440 Kent and 37 Lindsay Street, where those sites are rented out by various departments in the city. We have worked with Realty Services to align the lease agreements to save roughly $29,000 for next year. Transfer to external clients, we are maintaining the same budget of $7,000. That's for our Norland Volunteer Board. That helps fund their activities and looking after that site. And lastly, we have interfunctional adjustments, which for Building and Property, that is our fleet services, where our maintenance techs that travel around the city dealing with maintenance issues, we use city vehicles, and with working closely with the fleet department, we were able to adjust our fleet vehicle needs for a savings of $68,000 for next year. So overall, we're kind of tracking pretty close to last year. We're a slight increase of 8% for $249,000 and an overall budget of $3,468,000. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much for the update. Any questions? Councillor Joyce.
Thank you, through you, Chair, thank you very much. With contracted services, we just keep seeing those rates being cranked up and up every year. Have you looked at possibly bringing the snow clearing and janitorial in-house and hiring more people? Is there a cost savings there, or maybe we're not at that tipping point yet?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So this is something Director Johnson and I and Manager Smith of Parks and Recreation have talked about. We internally in building and property don't have the staffing to look after clearing snow ourselves, but it is something that Manager Smith or Director Johnson may be able to speak to a bit further. We have discussed adding additional staffing for janitorial cleaning in some of our sites. We're actually looking at figures and are planning to look at doing that in the future years.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to pass it on to Manager Smith of Parks and Recreation.
Thanks, James, and good morning. I'm Ryan Smith, the manager of Parks and Recreation. Director Johnson provided a bit of an overview on the Parks and Recreation Division. I'll just expand on that a bit. Great to be here this morning as well. So the Parks and Recreation Division plays a key role in enhancing the quality of life for residents, both residents and visitors across the city of Kawartha Lakes. As a division, we plan, develop, and operate and maintain parks, trails, forests, cemeteries, sports fields, waterfront amenities, including boat launches and docking. As well, the cemetery division falls under that, and our division also manages multiple arenas, community centers, pools, and fitness centers, and supports the delivery of programs across the city in those facilities. The Parks and Recreation Division is an important community partner that operates in conjunction with volunteer groups, committees, partners, and supports programs and events and services across the city. So just here today to present a brief overview of the 2026 operating budget for the Parks and Recreation Division. I'll talk to revenues first. Grants and other revenues remained relatively static. Where we did have some increases in revenues are supported by our user fees, so recreation, regular program fees, ice rentals, corporate memberships, sports field rentals are up 2%, so this is an increase in utilization, which is encouraging to see. And these forecasts of the revenue are based on where we sat kind of at the end of Q2, and then just looking at where we would be towards the end of the year. An increase in user group is also connected with corporate memberships, not necessarily an increase in corporate memberships, but certainly an increase in uptake by member usage. So I'll talk a bit about expenses now. I guess a key piece is the salaries and wages, and as Director Johnson alluded to, the bulk of the increase for salaries and wages for the Parks and Recreation Division can be attributed to market adjustment and contract adjustments as well. But however, we do have 5 positions requested within the 2026 budget, which include Supervisor of Aquatics and Wellness Programming, Manager of Recreation and Community Partnerships, Facility Project Delivery Coordinator, an additional arborist, which will help us develop our forestry division to look to increase servicing other urban centers across the city, and an urban forester position to help manage our municipal forests and our tree canopy across the city. The facility project coordinator position, the operating budget, which will be soon to come, has a number of significant park projects that are planned. So the intent of this facility delivery coordinator would be to focus on those park-driven initiatives, which would include Sylvester Park, McAlpine Park, Ops Park, and the redevelopment of the Pioneer Park, which is a little more detailed just given the historic use of the site. And again, further into expenses, so with materials, training, and services, there was a 2% increase, which equated to roughly $41,000. The increase here is basically attributed to staff training needs, whether it's through chip or chainsaw training. We had to do a bit more of that too, just given the storm damage this year. Health and safety expenses, program supplies, and then janitorial, just more of the fact, due to the fact the Logie Park washrooms were open year-round this past year, and will be continue to be moving forward. And the other increase, just the right sizing with utilities and water, primarily was attributed to hydro at the LRC that was right sized. The biggest challenge, or the biggest area of expenses for us, can be attributed to contract services. So Director Johnson talked briefly about the citywide programs, and that's where the bulk of our increase is for this year. So the Victoria Rail Trail maintenance budget, we've added in $100,000 there, and this is based on the recommendation that's outlined in the Trails Master Plan, which will right-size our service level for the trails to work towards meeting the maintenance standards that are outlined within the Trails Master Plan. And just to give you a brief understanding, like the Victoria Rail Trail corridor is 86 kilometers long, and just to maintain that surface, like with adjustments in surface types, to meet the standards, it costs roughly anywhere from $18,000 to $20,000 per kilometer. So even 5 kilometers is almost $100,000, and when you divide that over the 86 kilometers, we're looking at a 17-year process just to improve our surface across just the Victoria Rail Trail corridor. Another increase to contracted services was playground inspections. So we used to have a program that was capital driven for the installation of engineered wood fiber for our playground surfaces. But basically now they've determined that it's a maintenance item, and that's why we'll be switching that over to contracted services. And basically the engineered wood fiber is the accessible surface that we use at all our playgrounds across the city. And what it basically does, it needs regular maintenance in order to meet the accessibility requirements. The other increase as well was we looked at an increase of $50,000 just in tree replacement cost to assist just with the challenges surrounding the drought that we just went through. As well as tree damage through the ice storm. So it sounds like a lot of money, $50,000, but really it equates to 100 caliber trees, right? So, but this program will also assist with meeting strategic priorities, mainly the healthy environment. So the contracted services, Manager Smith spoke to it. For Parks and Recreation Division would have been further impacted through the winter maintenance budget, but we recognized pretty early on in the 24-25 season that we were going to run into some budget pressures with contracted snow removal. So what we've done to do our part to try and offset those costs is we've looked at taking some pieces back in-house, primarily at facilities where we have staff working, we have staff on site already and can provide that service with existing staff and resources that we have. So that played a key role in keeping our contracted services reduced. So debt, lease, and financial expenses were relatively static at $79,000. But what this basically is just primarily bank charges. Transfers to external clients expenses also relatively unchanged at $250,000. But this funds our community partnership and development program, so things like special events, beautification initiatives, and Canada Day celebrations that we assist areas with. And I want to speak to interfunctional adjustments. variance there of 8%, but this is supported by fleet service costs, just to keep the people moving around our division, right? So we have 250 staff across the division, and that's a lot of people to keep moving around. As well as also within interfunctional adjustments would be increases to property taxes that are associated with the Centennial Trailer Park. So, yeah, so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your report. Any questions? Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Chair, and thanks for the overview. I have a few questions. Are there any funds going into the Somerville track?
So the Somerville track, like the trail system that you're referring to, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, to Councillor Warren. The trail budget also funds the trail system, the network of trail systems within the Somerville Forest. That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I was just wondering if bringing in-house, but working with Public Works for some snow clearance, if that's possible.
Yeah, I think that the challenge, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, to Councillor Warren, the challenge I think is with the hours of operation that we're running our facilities. Like some of our facilities are opening at 6 in the morning and running till 11 at night. So I think that's why it's a good balance between contracted services, but as well as if we can do some of that in-house. If the facility's open, we have staff there, which means that we can, monitor and look after the needs of the facility.
Through you, just finally, tree canopies. I know that there's some grants out there, so, but we have to put an amount in ourselves to get those grants. So just putting that on the front burner if that can happen. And I know Robin Somerville, when she was talking about tree bylaws, and one of them has been put off, but under her area, which I don't know if that comes under this, under tree canopy, whether or not, well, she was going to have one hire and I guess a car, for capital. So do you work together on that, or is that a separate area?
Yeah. So through you, Mr. Chair, yeah, the urban forester position will assist with enforcing some of the bylaws once in effect, as well as to develop our tree inventory across the city, and also assist with we have approximately 4,000 hectares of municipal forest that is managed, so they'll assist with that and implement the forest management plan that we're just almost finalizing to the update to. So,
Councillor Joyce.
Thank you, through you, Chair. First, I just want to make a comment, a thank you, actually. My experience, when I get an email or phone call, a deficiency in a park, I send the email to Director Johnson. It goes down the chain, and I'm really blown away how fast your crew respond and fix those deficiencies. So thank you for that. Really impressive. My question is actually centering around the revenue. Actuals is almost and I understand you got to be conservative in this area. I get that. Almost $5 million in 2024. We budgeted less than that in 2025. The preliminary end of June is almost $4 million. You may not be able to answer this question, but is that tracking higher or lower compared to earlier years? Do you have a sense of where we'll end up in end of 2025 in terms of usage of our fees and whatnot?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Councillor Joyce. So I think basically in the COVID times, I think usership and utilization was down, but we are seeing it trend where utilization is increasing. So we expect to see that. Sometimes it's difficult with the projected numbers based on when registration is, whether it's fall, spring, or summer, but we are seeing an uptick in utilization.
Okay, so I understand. It's a pretty gray area, very difficult to answer that question. I understand that. We'll wait to see where things end at the 2025 and have a better idea where 2026 will go. Thank you very much.
Through you, Mr. Chair, too, I'd just like to say thank you for the kind words. We certainly have a great staff complement that works very hard at providing services for our parks and facilities. Thank you.
I got one question. You mentioned the inspection of school playgrounds. Does the school board, do we get any money from any school boards to help us with this?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question?
The inspection of school playgrounds. So you hire somebody to go inspect.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. So we have basically, I think roughly about 65 playgrounds across the city. We don't do any inspection services necessarily for the school board, but they're all done in-house. We have a staff person that's trained. It's quite a comprehensive training, and then we go through and do annual inspections to identify any deficiencies or areas that require repair, as well as we do routine monthly inspections across the division that's done by our supervisory and crew lead team.
Thank you for that. And then one comment is that it's really nice to see the increase of more use in our facilities, which is great, but unfortunately with increases means more facilities sometimes. So in a way, I guess we'll probably see that in the master plan. Thank you for your report.
All right. Thank you.
So thanks to the manager team for walking us through their divisional overviews. I'd now like to take a step back and highlight some of the accomplishments to date in 2025, as well as the priorities that will guide us in community services through 2026. So in 2025, we advanced several important initiatives across the department. We completed phase 1 of the Emily O'Meemy Community Center Revitalization Project, an investment that will benefit the community for many years to come. We initiated the development of division service targets to align with the city's customer experience strategy, ensuring that our work continues to put residents at the center of service delivery. Our building and property team launched the Building Condition Assessment Program, completing 13 facility assessments to date, which will help inform long-term asset management decisions. In Parks and Recreation, we completed a comprehensive street and parkland tree inventory in Lindsay, identifying more than 8,000 trees and integrating the data into the city's GIS mapping system. We also modernized the Legacy Chess program by updating the policy and introducing an online submission platform, making the application process clearer and more efficient for community groups. And of course, the staff across the department played a critical role in responding to resident inquiries and service provision during the ice storm, demonstrating flexibility, teamwork, and commitment in challenging conditions. Looking ahead to 2026, there are several priorities we will be advancing. We will be initiating the development of a comprehensive parks master plan, which will guide the planning and development of municipal parks and open spaces for the future. Work will continue with our partners to complete the construction of the Summit Wellness Center, an important future community hub. We will also be conducting a detailed analysis of municipal tree maintenance and replacement programs, ensuring that we have the right resources and processes in place across the corporation to sustain this important asset. On the customer service side, we will oversee the phased implementation of a new corporate customer relationship management system. This will enhance case tracking, strengthen data analytics, and improve resident self-service capabilities. Across the department, we will be finalizing our service profiles and continuing to build out key performance indicators so that we can better measure, track, and communicate the value of the services we provide. And finally, we will continue to pursue energy incentives, grants, and rebate programs that support the city effort, but also in how we plan, manage, and sustain the facilities, parks, and programs that residents rely on every day. Importantly, all of this work connects directly to the Council's 4 strategic priorities. By protecting and enhancing green spaces, trails, and natural assets, we are building a healthy community. By investing in recreation facilities, customer service, and community hubs, we are supporting an exceptional quality of life. By maintaining and improving the amenities that make Kawartha Lakes a great place to live and invest, we are contributing to a vibrant and growing economy. And by strengthening our leadership capacity, improving asset management, and modernizing our service delivery, we are delivering on good government. In short, community services is advancing the goals of council while ensuring that residents receive the services, spaces, and experiences that make Kawartha Lakes a stronger and more connected community. So the next slide, Constance. Hate to leave on the budget pressures, but we'll just kind of touch on those quickly. You've already heard the divisional overviews. One of the most significant challenges we're facing in 2026 relates to contracted services. Unpredictable and rising costs in this area continue to put considerable pressure on our budgets. While these contracts cover essential services that residents rely on, the volatility in pricing makes it increasingly difficult to forecast with certainty and to manage within existing budget envelopes. This is especially true for services like snow plowing and janitorial cleaning, where costs are heavily influenced by factors beyond our control, such as weather events and market rates. With that said, we are continuing to look at ways to manage these pressures responsibly by making business plans and assessing hybrid solutions for service provision. But it is important to recognize that contracted services will remain a budget challenge in the coming year. So Chair and members of the Budget Committee, that concludes our presentation on the Community Services Department's 2026 budget request. You've heard from each of the division managers who've outlined their services their teams provide, the financial variances that we've seen this year, and the pressures that are shaping our requests for the year ahead. I'd like to thank each of the managers for their input, and I'd also like to thank you for your attention as we walk through the details. I'm available, as well as the managers, to answer any further questions. We want to make sure we provide any clarification and context to support your deliberations.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Under the 2025 accomplishments, completed a comprehensive street and parkland tree inventory in Lindsay. I'm just wondering, are there plans to move that out into other urban areas like Bobcaygeon? I ask this because there is a group, Environmental Action Bobcaygeon, who's really wanting to do a tree inventory, and I'm wondering if there could be some sort of partnership, because actually I'm meeting with them tomorrow. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor. It's a great question, and I am aware of the group's initiative. The plan is to roll that out. We simply ran out of time this summer to get into Bobcaygeon and Fenelon Falls, so that is on our work plan for 2026. And if there's any synergy that we can make with the Bobcaygeon group, we will certainly do that.
Councillor Joyce.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Just one question, sort of verification. You've actually kind of answered the question. You stressed how lean you've been over the years, and there's a multi-year strategy in hiring. The leanness leading to burnout with supervisors. We don't want that to happen. But I'm getting a sense that this investment of new personnel this year, you did say is the final year of the strategy. So if nothing changes between this year and next year, there's no new parks or no expectations of increased services, you're the person in this plan, you're good with the personnel that you'll have? Like, there'll be no new requests for personnel next year, theoretically speaking. Exception, of course, for a new janitorial and clearing people to reduce our contracted services.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor. As far as projecting requests for 2027, I don't anticipate any leadership requests. There may be those maintenance operational requests that may be needed if we adjust, if we shift to a different model for service provision. And that is something, as I mentioned, we are kind of going through that business planning process to determine what makes sense. So as it stands now, where there's no expectation or plan to enhance or to expand the leadership roles within Parks and Recreation. And I would say that for the other two divisions as well, we feel that we're getting to that base. We've really, over the past few years, enhanced and brought ourselves to a level, built out that group to be able to manage the services that we're currently providing. Any adjustments to those services obviously may bring on some additional requests.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for coming today, and all your staff for taking the time today to present your reports. Thank you. So could I have a motion to receive the report? Councillor Warren, second by Councillor Joyce. All in favor? Thank you. Let's just take another 5 minutes so we can get ready for the next presentation. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We'll continue with the agenda, 4.3, Kawartha Conversation. Mark Wachowski, okay. Thank you for that. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. Budget Committee members, Chair McDonald, it's my pleasure to be here today to talk a little bit about our business and our 2026 Special Project Submission and Operating Budget Outlook. Before we get too far, I just want to recognize that really the work that we do is a combination of the support that we receive from our community, volunteers, stakeholders, and partners, as well as the great work that our staff does. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our board as well, who are extremely functional and really have been steering us in a good direction to achieve our vision of engaged communities that love, respect, and respect our natural environment. And that is a combination of municipal councillors within the watershed municipalities. And for your municipality specifically, it is councillors Richardson, Doble, and our chair, Pat Warren. So many thanks to all the work that comes together and lets us do the great work that we're doing. In terms of the budget process, we're really at an early stage for our budget. And at this point in time, we do have some guidelines that were presented to us by the board. Following the July meeting where we identified the guideline, we'll have a first draft that goes to our board in October. There'll be some discussions ultimately leading to a release of a draft budget for municipal comment for a 30-day period, and then a budget vote, which we anticipate will occur around January. In terms of our budget guideline, which I've been alluding to, it's 2.5%. That amounts to about $45,000. And when we look at the budget itself, it is comprised of a number of different categories which are identified by the province. Those are the ones that you see there, business operations as a general category, but then categories 1, 2, and 3 are specifically identified in the Act. And the category 1 are mandatory programs and services, things like flood forecasting, some provincial monitoring interests as well as examples in natural hazard management. Category 2 are special projects that are done on behalf of municipalities, and category 3 are general benefiting projects. Those are local programs that are determined by the board to be of interest. Most of our work is front-loaded on category 1 programs and a very small amount on category 3. Supported by a number of different revenue sources, grants and donations, program-generated revenues as well, and also some reserves in some cases. The focus of conservation authorities is provided as well in the Conservation Authorities Act, and that is really simplified a little bit, is the delivery of programs and services that further the management of natural resources in Ontario. And of course, we're one of 36 conservation authorities in Ontario that have the privilege of that mandate. We do have a number of pressures, and it was kind of nice hearing from some of the department presentations that we're not the only ones experiencing these pressures. We are seeing that there are some changes, certainly in particularly in the inflation and economy side of things. We have a number of kind of fixed costs that help support the running of the organization, such as insurance, the software that we rely on, health benefits, OMERS, and some of the EI, CPP, Employer Health Tax, WSIB. Most of those are running in the 8 to 12% range, which is definitely a pressure point and certainly more than the 2.5% guideline. If we add up all the numbers that are tied just to those elements, we're at $62,000 pressure. So that's more than the 2.5% that we're actually working with on the guideline. And that doesn't take into account COLA or those sorts of things. So it is certainly a pressure point just through those services. Seems to be a trend over the last couple of years, and one that we actually expect to occur based on what we're seeing. And some of the contracts that we've locked in, it'll end up, as those contracts expire, hitting us into future years. One example of one of the benefits that we have as a non-for-profit is a discount on our software licenses, and there's been a couple providers which have eliminated that ability this year. We also have some influences from some of the Conservation Authorities Act changes that have occurred over the last couple of years. And most notably, we're starting to see the impacts of that this year. So we don't have a full year yet where we have the numbers that would indicate those changes. But like I say, we are starting to see that on the revenue side, which is on the permitting front, we have a reduced regulated area, and we also have a reduced regulatory scope in terms of some of the activities, and a fee freeze, which is in its third year. We estimate the fee freeze itself has had a $50,000 impact on our budget. So this is kind of how everything shakes out between the different categories of programming, and I'll explain each of these in turn as we go forward. The first of which is general benefiting projects. We do have an ongoing climate change strategy. It's in the second of 10 years. You'll see there's a zero amount in 2026, and I'll explain some good news that we had as I get into some of the program highlights. We did have an interesting occurrence, I'll call it, this year as well with our information technology, where there were some attempts to try and get into our information and try and compromise us. We were able to catch that. So the information technology improvement that you see there is a software program for device management. And we did have to implement some software changes as well to make sure that we weren't locked out when we came in the morning based on people trying to guess our passwords. So that certainly was a business disruption for us. We also have the environmental monitoring strategy in the fourth of 10 years, and that really supports a lot of our mandatory work that we do on flood forecasting and natural hazard management. We're upgrading our information, providing a little bit more density to our gauges, and also making sure that we're able to access the information at a moment's notice. So the real-time data, which makes responding to things like flood emergencies a much more expedient. This is also the second year for implementation of the asset management plan, which is something that we hadn't previously budgeted for. We have almost a $5 million portfolio in our different assets, and to sustain that over time, a $256,000 annual contribution is what's required to manage the ins and outs of that asset pool over time. And so ultimately, we have a 10-year plan to get to that point of which you see the city share on this slide. Category 2s are the projects that we do on behalf of the municipality, and a lot of these are supporting the city's strategic plan. They're all related to making sure our lakes are sustainable over time, and making sure that we're able to effectively manage some of the changes that occur on the landscape. And I'll go through each of these projects as well as we go forward. The first of which is the Lake Management Plan implementation. We work with partners, and this is really a big, I would say, success story for the community, at least for our involvement on that side of things, is our community partners are very supportive of the work that's done, and the Lake Management Plans provide a great foundation for this. We have a number of successes in all areas of the plan. And like I say, this does help implement the city's strategic plan, the healthy environment, as well as some ties to a vibrant and growing economy, specifically because the Kawartha Lakes are such a draw for tourism. Last year, I remember there was a question about, well, how much has the city supported lake management plan implementation over time? So you actually do have a hidden slide as well in your slide deck, which represents the first 5 years. This represents the second 5 years, since we're in the second iteration of the implementation management plan or implementation of the lake management plans. And this is the schedule as it comes out right from the plan itself. The numbers that you saw in the previous slide were really based on refinement on an annual basis, and they're fairly close together. You see the different streams presented in slide under the program areas, and really in each of those program areas we're achieving gains in sediment and erosion control. That's important because more sediment runs off the landscape, phosphorus binds tightly to it, and you end up with increased nutrient levels. That means in the end probably more weeds or algae. There's nearshore monitoring and other investigative monitoring in those areas as well. What that does is identify some hotspots so that we can focus stewardship activities, which is the next part, tree planting, stewardship activities, and different demonstration projects as part of the activities that occur. We had a new project come online as well that was identified in the Lake Management Plan implementation. We did use deferred revenue to fund that last year, but we are asking for some money this year. This is looking to improve sport fishing in the area by looking at habitat requirements, specifically around the Bobcaygeon Dam. And we do see value in this project. We've been working with Parks Canada, academia as well on this, and been determining what the habitat looks like. We actually had some I guess we're fortunate in some ways it was low water. When we were flying this, we had some drone technology that was used to look at the underwater habitat structures. And that's the picture that you see there. Trent Severn Waterway is interested in this project as well. And they're really excited to support this project through in-kind next year. The forestry program that we have is a joint program, as we listed, with the region of Durham, since the funder supports tree planting in both areas. But it is actually included within the overall Lake Management Plan implementation strategy that we circulated a couple of years ago for you. This project, as you can see, has a tremendous support as a result of Forest Canada and their support for tree planting. And this all is great. Tree planting projects go on willing landowners' properties, and as a result, that really helps with the resilience of landscapes. And a couple of ways in which it does it is looking at resiliency for climate change. It's also important for things like drought and floods. It really helps keep water where you want it and keeps it local to the area. The last category in or special levy request for Category 2 project is Lake Health Monitoring, which is in its second of 5 years. And this is looking at determining the comparison between when we did the lake management plans about 8 to 12 years ago for the various lakes to what does it look like now based on some of the implementation work that's gone on, as well as any other pressures that are hitting the lake. So it's important to be able to make those comparisons to see what impact we're actually having. The current focus of monitoring that we're doing is on the hotspots, and one of those is actually the nearshore monitoring and investigative monitoring on the tributaries as examples. We do have 2 municipal service agreements as well with the city. And these are the risk management official services and the floodplain mapping specific to Burnt River in this case. These are out of departmental budgets and they don't hit the levy, but presenting them here for you just for your information. With that, I'd like to share a couple of highlights that we had over 2025 to date, and I'll just pick a couple of items or 1 or 2 out of the list here. But ice storm impacts was certainly a big impact for us. It hit Ken Reed Conservation Area in particular very hard. Pretty much every single trail had a lot of work to do on it. Include a couple pictures there. One is our road coming into the conservation area, and that's the picture on the left-hand side. On the right is actually another road, and the trails look just like this too. There was a ton of clearing that had to be done. We figure we spent about $100,000 to date on that. Half of that was our own staff time working on that, and the other half was contractors to deal with some hazard trees that we couldn't deal with. We have a very talented crew that are really good with chainsaws, so they were really instrumental to helping out on that. But we did have a power outage for 12 days. So that was significant for us. At the same time, we had a flood scenario that was occurring as well. So we had to issue some flood statements, which was interesting when you didn't have power. So some of the adaptation that we've done over time has been great, but we didn't have power to some of the gauges either that we rely on. So we actually had to do some manual work in order to check what the water levels actually look like. So that is something that we're going to have to wrestle with for sure this year as we tally up the costs of the ice storm. There's still some work to be done, and we have one trail that's not open. It's going to be a challenge to get done, but all the other trails are open, which is great. And we have about 22 kilometers of trail just in the one CA, but all of the CAs were actually impacted. We recognize the importance of the housing agenda as well that the province has in particular, and our role in that process. So we recognize that processing our permits as well as planning, but we have numbers that are easily shared on the permitting front. We do have a couple of standards that we look at in order to try and make sure that we process things which are actually better than provincial timelines that are identified in the legislation, and these better by a third of that. And what you see is early in the year we did have some human resource elements that some shortages that we were dealing with, but since that time you can see that steady increase. And 100 is 100%. That means we're meeting the guidelines for the more stringent timelines for both approval of permits as well as determining a complete application. So right now I would characterize us in the stellar compartment for performance on that end. We fit 100% guidelines in July and August. And not only are we meeting, we're exceeding those standards. So we're doing really well on that front. And my kudos to our team for doing a great job and working hard to get ahead of the curve on those. As I mentioned, we've had a year of highs and lows. So currently we are in a low water response, level 2, and that is because we haven't really had a lot of rain in the last little while. I know driving down the road, especially our road, which has got shallow soil, the trees are actually burning up, so the leaves are all shriveled coming in, which is unusual to see. But we're about 53% right now with the 3-month average. So certainly something that we're keeping an eye on and working with partners to raise awareness and figure out ways that we can try and reduce water consumption. As I mentioned, had some good news to share on the climate change strategy front. We are one of 30 organizations in Canada that was chosen to be a part of Project Ignite through Eco-Canada. So the item that we had on the agenda for our climate change strategy was the development of a GHG reduction strategy, a greenhouse gas reduction strategy. And this project actually achieves that. So it's an 18-month partnership with Eco-Canada, and we're excited to see what the results of that are. But ultimately that results in a savings for our municipalities as well, which is fantastic. The credibility of the work that our crew does as well on the science front has also been recognized. We had a journal article that was published in a reputable scientific journal. So just and that was part of the Lake Plan implementation work that was done specific to the aquatic thruster. So that's tremendous because that goes through a whole peer review process in order to make sure the science is great, and I think is a testament to the great work that we can rely on for the implementation that we do on the lake management plans. Lake health monitoring, I'll just skip through this one fairly quick because it is one that we're still receiving information on, but we do plan on having an online dashboard where everyone can see the results of the monitoring that's done and ultimately the comparatives for the lake management plans. A couple of exciting pieces coming up on this slide is community science. This is the nearshore monitoring that we do. We have partnerships with our lake associations in the area, and they've been extremely supportive. They actually contribute funds as well to this programming, which is great. And that's KLSA is Kawartha Lakes Association, Steward Association, the Scugog Lake Stewards, and Balsam Lake Association. So this is great work. It's geared towards nearshore monitoring, which is part of the hotspot monitoring that we're looking at. The other one, which is also pretty exciting and uses some innovative technology, is sediment and erosion control. We have partnered with a developer, and we have a new one coming online actually next year. And this is looking at trying to manage sediment erosion on development sites. So in this case, you can see that we flew a drone, and by flying a drone, we have an ability to collect accurate elevation data. We crunch that through computers and GIS, and you do some hydrologic modeling on that. And by doing that, we're able to figure out where the pinch points are for where traditional sediment erosion controls would probably fail, and recommend bolstering those sediment erosion controls. And as I mentioned before, if you reduce sediment, you ultimately end up reducing weeds, whether it be watercourses or the lakes themselves. I'll skip through these pretty quick because I'm probably holding you back between lunch and the rest of your discussion. So we've done some great stewardship work as well, which are on the next couple of slides. Planted approximately 20,000 trees to date. There's still some more planting to go on this year. And in terms of the community and landowner greats, which we call the water fund, you can see there's significant leveraging for both of those. People really care about the lakes, so they care about their properties, and you can see really the impact of some investment on that end. And those projects all have criteria which are meant to benefit the lakes themselves. There are a number of works that are going on as well with agriculture and urban stewardship, and there's actually some notable highlights here as well. One is that we are now the legal entity for Alice, Kawarthas, Peterborough, Northumberland, which is tremendous. Having that in-house means that we can focus some of the activities more in the city of Kawartha Lakes, and I don't know if you know some of the impact, but we're anticipating about $100,000 impact in the support, the grant funding as a result of having that program in-house, which is tremendous, I think, for not only for us, lake management plans, but also the agricultural community. And on the urban stewardship front, the one thing I wanted to highlight here in particular is that through the hotspot monitoring that we did, we noticed that there was an urban stream, Sinister Creek, that had some elevated concentrations of different parameters, which wasn't ideal. So this resulted in a proposal to RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, and they are great in terms of this kind of work. And they supported $25,000 with the total grant amount is $50,000 over, it's 25 over 2 years, to look at LID projects in that area to try and address some of those problems. So a direct link between the science and stewardship. Bobcaygeon Dam, this is the second last slide that I have for you in terms of content. This is the partnership with Parks Canada, Save the Walleye, University of Waterloo, and looking at trying to look at the dam flows that come out. Well, the flows that come out from the dam, whether it's coming from the top or the bottom, and seeing what the impacts are on fish habitat. And this is using some innovative technologies. The little boat that you see there is courtesy of Trent Severn Waterway. It's an $80,000 unit that's able to look at bathymetry and flows, and it came with a pilot as well, which is tremendous. So we were able to leverage that as part of the project as an example. And last one is Burnt River floodplain. We're actually out there collecting data right now. The next step is to do the engineering once we have all that data, and we look forward to sharing a report next year. So with that, Mr. Chair, I really appreciate the opportunity to present our 2026 budget outlook, the highlights of what we're doing, and how we're able to support your municipality in achieving its strategic goals and objectives, and also the opportunity to make as big an impact as we can on our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Open up for questions. Councillor Warren.
Thanks a lot. That was a great presentation, Mark. I was wondering if you could just speak to some of the other grants that we've received, like through Conservation Ontario, towards some of those projects.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. There are a number of projects that are supported through Conservation Ontario. Conservation Ontario is the umbrella organization for all 36 CAs. So they are fantastic at fundraising as well and doing things on a big collaborative scale, whether it be Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, or conservation authorities wide. So we do see some benefits through Conservation Ontario. They call out for projects, and then we're able to identify things that might fit those criteria. And I know that we have a couple of projects that are supported that way, but we're also seeing some other opportunities in other municipalities. And we did have a grant of a couple $100,000 actually for one particular project. So lots of great work that's going on there. And I believe Trees Canada, I think, is also centered through some of those, through Conservation Ontario, and then put out to the different CAs. So we do our own grant proposal writing, and we also benefit from others in the community that are doing the same.
Any other questions? Councillor Joyce.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, congratulations on the partnership with Echo Canada. It's great to see stuff like that, and good work on permitting. I've never heard getting over 100%, but that's good.
Yeah, it's something that we strive for, and something that's near and dear to my heart is actually making sure that we have an efficient process and effective process around permitting, and I'm glad we're doing that. We usually have around 95, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But 100% is absolutely tremendous. So and like I say, a little bit better.
Very good. 2 questions. I'm pretty sure I asked this question last year, so forgive me. This slide here on other projects levy requests for the asset management plan. Is this an accumulative? You're asking 15,000 each year, or is 30,000 this year, 45,000 next year, and so on?
Yeah, these represent the actual dollar amounts in those years. They would be adjusted a little bit based on the apportionment percentages that are supplied by the province, but they're going to be pretty close. It doesn't even vary by a percentage every year. So any amounts that would be differing from that wouldn't be very much at all. So they're pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But that's within the 2.5% you're requesting.
And that is outside. This is the 2.5 is geared towards operating programs, and so this hits like the general levy component of the request.
Thank you. Last question is, talk to me about the fee freeze. Any gut feeling, sense of where that's going?
Yeah, thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Excellent question. It is one that all conservation authorities are inquiring about. At this point in time, we don't have a firm gauge on that. We have had discussions on that front. I know that Conservation Ontario is working hard on that as well as some of the bigger CAs that have some direct ties to some of their staffing, but ultimately it's a decision of the minister, and we haven't heard whether or not he is going to release that, or whether it's going to continue. I think from discussions I've heard, he understands the scenario, but ultimately, when I look at it, it's also not achieving what they're trying to achieve. So it's a little bit a difficult position, I think, for us and the impacts that we see on our budget, but them trying to meet their mandate. So we usually find out the week before the calendar year ends.
Thank you. If you can expand on what are they trying to achieve that's not working? Can you,
I think
in the Coles Notes version of that?
Coles Notes version is develop homes faster and cheaper. And so permitting costs is one of those ones that's targeted as an ability to influence a reduction in building cost.
Thank you.
Thank you. See no more questions. Thanks again today for your presentation. I appreciate it very much. And could I have a motion to receive the Court of Conservation there? Councillor Warren, seconded by Councillor Joyce. All in favor? Thank you very much for coming today.
Yep. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And that's the last. We'll have a motion to adjourn. Councillor Joyce, seconded by Councillor Warren. All in favor? Thank you.